Okay, group, squeeze on in this way. Squeeze on over, all the way across.
The tour begins in the lobby of the Denver Museum of Nature and Science beneath the replica of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Science is my favorite topic in school. I like seeing all the dinosaurs.
Of the thousands of people who visit every year, on this day it's a group of about 30 homeschooled Christian children and their parents.
We're trained to think like evolutionists. We need to think like creationists, okay?
And the tour is very different from the usual because these kids are being told the museum's evolution and dinosaur exhibits have it wrong.
Who knows what BC Tour stands for in BC Tours? It stands for Biblically Correct Tours.
It's a tour from a strictly biblical perspective. Billy Jack and Rusty Carter lead about 100 of these a year, and they've spoken to thousands of children. They are what's called young Earth creationists. Earth is only 6,000 to 10,000 years old, not the 4.5 billion estimated by science.
So today we might even say the J word here. What's the J word?
Jesus.
Jesus. We believe Jesus is our designer and our creator of everything that was ever made.
They explain that life is not the product of billions of years of evolution, but created by God in 6 24-hour days. They say Adam and Eve walked the earth with dinosaurs. And there was no such thing as death, not even meat-eating animals, until Eve ate fruit from the tree of knowledge. So, for instance, they say that Tyrannosaurus Rex, with those enormous ripping teeth, was designed to eat vegetables.
If this creature was designed to eat meat from the very start, what would he have to do until Adam and Eve sinned and death entered the world? What would he have to do? Fast and pray for the fall. Is that likely? And the answer is, everybody look at me and say, no. Try that with me. No.
Their timeline for their 6,000-year history is a little hazy.
Before the flood, there was a period there which we believe people lived to be 800, 900 years old, maybe almost 1,000 years old.
So how long was that? How many generations of 800-year-old people did we have?
I haven't thought of that.
Without doing the math, I think there's about 6 or 7.
And doing the math, that would take about 5,600 years, during which people lived roughly 800 years.
So from Adam to Noah, I think it's about 1,000 years. I could be wrong about that.
They point to all those bones and fossils in the museum, probably the product of Noah's flood. They dismiss many exhibits as artwork, not science.
And again, are you seeing any scientific evidence here? No. No. What are you seeing? Artwork. It's a great fairy tale, but it's not good science.
Taking these children and parents to an exhibit on how the first sparks of life might have come about, they say that evolution cannot be observed or scientifically verified. Evolution and creation are both just what they call worldviews. Both are philosophies, both a leap of faith.
Where did the material come that made the Big Bang? And they say it has always been in existence. That's their step of faith. Is evolution a religion? Yes, it's a religious belief, or it's a philosophy.
Anybody here?
Their tours are tolerated, but not sponsored by the museum, where the curator has lived his professional life studying fossils.
They're misrepresenting science in a fairly dramatic way.
How are they misrepresenting science?
They walk through the exhibit knowing already that the world is 6,000 years old, knowing already that all life was created by a creator, and so they have to force-fit all science into a pre-existing dogma.
And then it says there was once an ancient sea.
At one exhibit, they stop and talk about fossils trapped in sandstone, estimated by scientists to be 6 million years old.
How do they date the fossil? By the layer in which they find it. They date the layer by the fossil, and the fossil by the layer, and the layer by the fossil. What kind of reasoning is that, by the way? That's called circular reasoning. That's right. That's right.
And then they turn their backs to an exhibit right next to it explaining radiometric dating, the method by which scientists do date rocks and fossils through the rate of decay of naturally occurring radioactivity.
We can't cover everything.
That is the basis for how they judge how old things are.
All dating methods are based on assumptions.
They just dismiss it. They say, well, it's not very accurate.
They have no clue about how accurate it is.
Now, fossils are usually rather boring because they're piles of dead things.
The theory of evolution is that all life evolved over billions of years from simple cells. Minute changes over time allowed those simple cells to become more complicated forms of life. Then fish, plants, dinosaurs, birds, apes, and eventually man, everything. Why does evolution matter?
Well, evolution matters because it is the one central constant that holds all of biology together.
So to you, without evolution, nothing makes sense.
That's quite true, that nothing in evolution, or nothing in biology makes sense without evolution.
That is not what this scientist was raised to believe.
I grew up in a church just like Bill Jack's church, different denomination, but one that actually believed the world was 6,000 years old and that it was created in 6 days.
What changed your mind?
Empirical observations.
What do you see right here? You're looking at the evidence of God's judgment against a sinful world. You're looking at the remains of the flood.
To them, evolution is an attack on their faith.
It is naturalism. That all there is really is nature, and everything comes from nature. And yes, that is antithetical to a supernaturalist worldview, if you will, that there is a God who created, put order into the universe. I come here for good science, not somebody's science fiction. I come here for facts, not somebody's fantasy. This is a fairy tale. How do they know your teeth evolved from scales? You've got to ask that question. How do you know? Everybody try that with me? How do you know? Let's try it again. How do you know? Very well done.
Many people who take the tour are looking for reinforcement of what they already believe.
We believe strictly in the Bible, what the Bible says, that God created man from his image.
God created the earth, and it didn't evolve from a big asteroid. It took bajillions of years.
With the amount of damage happening to the earth these days, all the crazy things, it would have fallen apart by now at millions and billions of years.
They are presenting a point of view that is diametrically opposed to what you want people to leave with.
That's right, but presenting diametrically opposed opinions is a pretty American thing to do. And regardless of what the tour guide is saying, some of those kids are going to start thinking for themselves.
Why are human and dinosaur remains not found in the same sedimentary layers?
Okay, there are several problems for the creationist. There's no doubt about that. And one would be that we are to think creationally.
The tour ends with a prayer.
Father, thank you for reminding us that there are ways of looking at the world that are biblical.
And that's the thing about the biblical view. It doesn't have to be explained by science.
I've chosen to believe the God of the Bible. Now, the evolutionist has chosen not to believe the God of the Bible. So we've chosen to believe. They're both matters of faith.
And to them, science that does not support their faith is not good science.
How do we know that God made birds to be birds?
It's in the Bible.
It says it in the Bible.
This is Brian Rooney for Nightline in Denver.